Going on, everybody? John Matrix here, and we got another SCP Foundation video for you guys. The last one we looked at was the Church of the Broken God going into the war between Yaldabaoth and the Mechanites and the Sarkics and the church, the various factions of the church and their beliefs and all that kind of stuff. So now we're going to take a look at another SCP video. This is SCP-001. So I guess let's see if this has anything to do with the Broken God or if there's something else going on here. But as you can see, doing this reaction live for my YouTube members here. So if you want to join in these live reactions and join in the discussions and sit and chill while we do all this, feel free to click the join button down below and see if any of the YouTube membership tiers have any interest for you. As always, there will be links down below in the info section for this video and for the original channel, so you can go there, check out the videos, and like, sub, do all that kind of stuff. So for now, we're gonna get into this here video.
SCP-001. The SCP Foundation contains thousands of anomalous creatures, objects, and phenomena, and this list of SCPs of course starts with number 1.
Yep.
Newcomers to the site will be perhaps surprised to find that there is no single SCP-001, but instead there are currently over 24 proposals outlined for the slot.
What? So SCP-001 is like multiple SCPs, or they're just not sure which one is technically found first or something out of all of these? What is this? Sheath of the Papers, the prototype, the gate guarding, the locked factory, the spiral path, the legacy, the database, the foundation. 36, Keter duty, the children, a record, the broken god, past, future, consensus, when the day breaks, God's blind spot, normalcy, the world at large, dead men. I'm assuming these are just like different stories or whatever. He'll explain. Yeah.
Instead, there are currently over 24 proposals outlined for the slot. The reason for this structure within the universe is so that no one outside of the O5 Council know which of the proposals is the true SCP-001 for the sake of security. The reason for
so I want, he's going to tell the reason here, but I wonder if it's just because of the actual 001 is like something so insane and so crazy that would be like world or universe altering. So in order to prevent knowledge from being leaked, several no files have been created alongside true files. All files concerning the nature of SCP-001, including the decoys, are protected by a memetic kill agent designed to immediately cause cardiac arrest in any non-authorized personnel attempting to access the file, revealing the true natures of SCP-001 to the general public in case and cause for execution, except as under blah blah blah.
This out of the universe is because having the 001 slot was considered special, and it was reserved for something worthy of the slot. The proposals were then first submitted hoping to earn the spot, but at this point it's likely that no single proposal will ever be chosen. While a number of the 001 proposals are related to the concept of the fictional starting of the Foundation, just as many of them have nothing to do with the early Foundation.
Memetic kill hazard is a picture that kills you when you look at it. So it's kind of like with the ring girl or whatever, you know, you watch the video and then she comes out of the video and kills you.
Just as many of them have nothing to do with the early Foundation. There are far more proposals than I'd like to fit in one video, and likely many more to come. So this video will go over a number of the most popular proposals. The highest rated proposal was submitted by Dr. Clef, titled The Gate Guardian. This proposal describes a massive humanoid entity, over 1,000 feet in height,
Jesus,
that stands motionless at a location near the intersection of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. This
interesting. Okay, so isn't that where like civilization supposedly began? So it could be the guardian of the gate to heaven or something like that.
The intersection of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. This entity is standing in front of a tremendous gate, through which a pastoral grove can be seen, which include 2 immense fruit trees. The entity is seen with its head bowed, holding a large sword or knife, and with a number of bright wings emerging from its back. Any entity, living or otherwise, that comes within 1 kilometer of SCP-001 is attacked and obliterated instantly. Additionally, any hostile action taken against SCP-001 from any distance results in the destruction of the attacker. However, those that directly observe the entity from a safe distance are given a telepathic order that they are compelled to obey. The most common of these is forget, causing the observer to walk away and forget their experience. Notably, the founder of the Foundation was given the directive, prepare, leading him to start the SCP Foundation.
That's interesting. I was going to say, I wonder if anyone has been allowed to pass through the gate and what the prerequisites would be for anyone who could pass through it. But it's interesting that the order was given to prepare and to create the SCP Foundation, which could obviously be, you know, would then the SCP Foundation be something that is ordained, you know, by actual God or something like that? Something that was meant to be made? Interesting.
The Foundation has done some minor testing with the entity, but nothing so far has passed the 1 kilometer barrier. SCP-073 and 076, known as Cain and Abel, both refused to go near the entity, although Cain was ordered to approach, causing some expunged effect and the termination of any further experimentation. Finally, the proposal ends with a transmission that the Foundation received, time-stamped a number of years in the future, discussing SCP-001 leaving its location and an imminent apocalyptic scenario. The entity currently has no containment procedures, although it is constantly monitored. S. Andrew Swan's proposal, titled The Database, showcases a simple and yet meta answer for the existence of the Foundation and all of the SCPs. In a nutshell, this proposal outlines the concept that the SCP Foundation attempted to look into a grand unifying theory that connects all of the SCPs in their universe to a single origin. In the process, they discovered that their records would often change on a whim, but also that their reality was changing along with it.
Interesting.
The reason for this, and the reason why they halted all investigation into the origin theory and expunged practically all of the data, is that they discovered their universe is subject to the omnipotent wills of a group of horror writers. To put it plainly,
okay, they're getting their fourth wall breaking here, and they're saying that the writers are the gods of the universe. And okay, I like that though. I do like that. They're basically saying everyone who's writing the books are the gods, and that, you know, we're getting into like multi-dimensional stuff here. Okay, I can dig it.
the omnipotent wills of a group of horror writers. To put it plainly, this proposal says that the Foundation discovered that their reality is constantly subject to change based on what the authors of the SCP website decide to write.
Okay.
To combat this, the O5 Council have prepared a series of memetic agents that would affect viewers of the SCP database, leading to unconsciousness or death. This proposal is one of the more controversial ones due to the extreme meta nature, but it does neatly answer the question of where all the anomalous objects come from. SD Locke's proposal takes on a unique format, titled When Day Breaks, alternating between the standard technical writing typical of an SCP entry and a somewhat more traditional storytelling format. The writing is in the second person, starting with detailing how you followed a distress signal into an abandoned Foundation facility while being hunted by some sort of monster. You barricade yourself in a room with a computer terminal and turn it on.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
We are presented with a proper description of SCP-001, which is now the designation that the Foundation assigned to the Sun after an inexplicable event. This event caused light rays from the sun to melt any living organism, including plants,
Interesting.
animals, and humans, into a still living congealed mass of flesh. Plants can still photosynthesize, animals remain sentient, and humans retain some sapience and memory. But when touching, these masses can combine and blend together into large bulk organisms
Jesus.
that drag themselves around.
The blob.
Additionally, any anomalous organism loses their anomalous properties when affected by the sun. An estimated 6.8 billion casualties occurred within 24 hours of this event, leaving the Earth an apocalyptic wasteland. It's implied that eventually all life on Earth will be a part of a single mass of gelatinous flesh, as those affected seem to desire to bring everything else into the sun's light. The rest of the proposal goes over some earlier logs of some Foundation personnel attempting to survive the apocalypse, and eventually the reader, you, are dragged out of the facility by the mass and taken into the light. Dr. Mann's proposal, the spiral path, is incredibly simple on the surface, merely a circular path in a forest that seems to be continuously uphill when walked in a counterclockwise direction. A fence, some armed guards, and a nearby laboratory make up the basic containment procedures, but an attached document available to new members of the secretive O5 Council provides the full story. The document tells the tale of a physicist named Aaron Siegel, who discovered the anomalous gravel path in 1891. Rather than ignoring it and moving on, Aaron decided to study it, finding it to be basically a glitch in our world. From his experiments, he was able to derive new equations, and he began to create inventions based on these new principles, the first of which was a key that could open any lock, SCP-005. He brought in other bright minds to study the path with him, creating the basis for the Foundation, but rather than containing the anomalies, they hoped to use them to better the world. One discovery flowed into the next, and although they started small, they began experimenting with humans and creating more elaborate anomalies. Mistakes were also made, with inadvertent creations also coming out of this period, but they kept moving forward, gaining funding from governments and militaries around the world. As the Foundation grew, the original group of researchers continued to create new anomalies, but created the masquerade of having other people find their creations. Certain individuals from the group split off, forming groups such as the Church of the Broken God, but the O5s continue to create new anomalies to better understand what they've done.
Interesting.
The document leaves off by stating that they didn't create every SCP held by the Foundation. Some just appeared in containment, and were always in containment. Like many...
So these are essentially just like multiple origin stories that could essentially lead to the starting of how the SCP Foundation became, as kind of what I'm gathering here. Interesting.
001 proposals. This one either fits with your headcanon of the Foundation, or it doesn't. Jonathan Ball's proposal, Sheath of Papers, is another simple one that attempts to explain where all of the SCPs come from. The Sheath of Papers is literally that, a small stack of papers.
Some origin stories, or other just super wild anomalies. Okay. I mean, it seems like a lot of these are ideas of like how things happened that led to how the SCP was created. You know, I find that interesting. It's also like, I don't know, I like the idea of, you know, the fourth wall thing where it is actually the writers, you know, are the gods of the universe, and they're literally changing their reality as and updating it as the stories are being written. I like that. I'm very intrigued by, you know, the Guardian of the Gate. I want to learn more about that. I'm very intrigued by that so far. I want to know what's behind it. It definitely seems kind of like, you know, a gate to heaven kind of thing, or a gate to Eden with the fruit trees back there. Very, you know, Adam and Eve tree of life kind of, you know, mythology, very biblical. But out of all of these stories, that's the one that I'm most interested so far. The whole mass blob thing was terrifying. And then the spiral, which was just some kind of like a glitch in the matrix that this guy studied and was able to learn more from, is an interesting idea. It's meant to be, it's just meant to be special since it's entry number 1. Right. Yeah, I get it.
The Sheath of Papers is literally that, a small stack of papers with confidential report on special items, classified, written on the cover page. When the cover page is turned over, a new SCP is described, and sometime after reading the report, the SCP described will be discovered somewhere.
Huh. So that's the kind of the observer effect. It didn't exist until you read about it, and then it appeared. That's pretty interesting. That would be pretty interesting. You're the one that's creating the reality as you're reading it. Okay.
The first SCP described was SCP-002, followed by 003, and so on. It's unclear whether or not the Sheath of Papers is responsible for creating the SCPs in question.
Oh, yeah, you know, the papers themselves could be SCP-001 then.
Or merely notifying the reader and the discoverer of their existence. Rather than concerning itself with the start of the Foundation, Jorik and Dematic's proposal, 36, more relates to the end of the Foundation. 36 describes 36 individuals of varying ages, genders, and ethnicities. When any anomalous item or phenomena is brought within close proximity of one of these individuals, the anomalous quality is nullified. When multiple members of the 36 are brought together, the range and intensity of this nullifying field is increased. Additionally, when any of the 36 die, multiple anomalous events will occur.
So they essentially, these beings are essentially almost kind of self-containment things, and it seems like when they're all brought together, they could potentially nullify and remove all of the anomalies, but then as they die, those nullified anomalies are then brought back, is kind of is what it sounds like it's getting at. And that could lead to some kind of like super apocalyptic event.
If any of the 36 die, multiple anomalous events will occur, along with the sudden appearance of varying dangerous entities.
I like the Sisters of Silence in 40K, they're blanks, right.
Along with the sudden appearance of varying dangerous entities. Examples include sudden rainfall containing numerous fatal pathogens, massive walking creatures, and spontaneous ritualistic cannibalism in a widespread area. Civilian casualties after each of these events are generally tremendous, reaching into the tens or hundreds of thousands. After the death of one of the 36, they are supposedly reincarnated as newborn babies, although the Foundation has yet to prove this.
Interesting. They're perpetuals.
It's believed that once all 36 individuals are brought together, their nullifying field will reach across the cosmos, removing all anomalous properties from existence and making the world young again.
Interesting.
There
That's
are,
a cool
of course,
concept.
many other proposals for the SCP-001 slot. Dr. Gear's prototype proposal is simply a dangerous, anomalous humanoid, and is presented as the very first SCP that the Foundation decided to report on. Kate McTirris's proposal, a record, relates a researcher's discovery that anything written in the SCP-001 slot becomes true.
Becomes real.
And she apparently uses this ability to become God.
That would be an interesting story. That'd be an interesting story to read.
And she apparently uses this ability to become God. The Broken God proposal from Twisted Gears and Cactus goes over an incident in Mexico in 1942, when members of the Church of the Broken God attempted to rebuild their god with a false heart.
We went over that in the last video.
Disastrous results. Bright's factory proposal is a story of a grim and deeply mysterious factory that continually creates new SCPs for unknown reasons. As mentioned, some of these certainly deal with explaining the origins of the Foundation, or of SCPs in general, and many others are just immensely powerful or notable SCPs.
Gotcha.
There's no real guidelines for what constitutes a 001 proposal, and sometimes certain SCPs end up as 001 proposals even though the author originally wrote it for some other purpose. The actual first SCP written was 173, posted on the paranormal board of 4chan, and is currently the highest rated article on the SCP Wiki.
Just Canadian retrievers from item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times, and personnel must enter SCP-173's container. Never fewer in this room enter at any time, and the doors to be relocked behind them at all times. 2 persons must be looking at SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: Move to Site 19, 1993. Little is known about the item number SCP, blah, blah, blah. It's construction, concrete, blah, blah. Oh, it's Peanut. Gotcha. SCP-170 is animate and malevolent. If given the chance, it will kill anyone within its line of sight. Its weakness, however, is that it does not move while being watched. Despite its paralysis, it is still highly dangerous, able to cover at least 2 meters in the literal blink of an eye. Typically kills either by snapping the victim's neck from behind or grabbing the victim's throat and strangling them. Whatever animates SCP-173 does not give it much force with which to break things. As seen above, a large room with unbarred windows is fully capable of containing it. Its grip, however, is unbreakable, as when it's not moving, the statue is as hard and strong as concrete. While left alone in its room, one can hear a stone on stone scraping from within. It is believed to be the sound of SCP-173 moving about. The reddish brownish substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. We don't know nor wish to find out where it comes from or how it arrives, but SCP-173's container will slowly fill with these substances in order to ensure that bacterial growth within does not begin to damage the building it is contained in, and to maintain some level of sanitation. Enclosure must be cleaned out on a bi-weekly basis. Interesting.
The SCP-001...
Right, yeah, the Weeping Angels. Yeah. The, from various stories and like in D&D and whatnot. I know the Weeping Angels were a thing in Critical Role, but I also know that it was a thing, I think, in Doctor Who. Right? So, that's interesting.
01 slot is indicative of the SCP universe as a whole, as so many of them contradict with one another, forcing readers to pick and choose what fits their personal headcanon.
Gotcha. I like that idea.
I encourage you to read a number of them yourself to decide which one suits you, but only the O5 Council know which of them is
true. Okay, what's he got here for the quote at the end? Everyone who works any length of time at the foundation of the universe we live in is a seriously fucked up place. Those who still believe in God tend towards serious ambivalence about his handiwork. We found out that there is a God, and it is SCP-001. And it's a bunch of horror writers. I personally kind of like that idea. All right, so that was SCP-001 from the Exploring the SCP Foundation series here. Like I said earlier, out of all of that, the thing that sounds the most interesting to me that I would like to learn more about is the Gatekeeper, the Gate Guardian, whatever. I just would want to learn more about it, what's behind it, where does it lead to, what's a guardian, the idea that it tells people essentially if you get too close to forget and turn away, but that it told the leader of the SCP to prepare, which led him to create the SCP for whatever reason. That's an interesting origin story. You know, that kind of gives it this ordained kind of otherworldly you know, origin or purpose. Like, you know, it was meant to be from God, and at some point in time, you know, maybe this guardian will when the time is right, shepherd people into a different world or something like that. So I kind of like that idea. I also really like the idea of the papers being the origin of everything, and as you read it, you know, the kind of observer effect thing where once you read it, that becomes reality, which then would also kind of ties into the story of the woman who essentially turns herself into God. I think my favorite origin story of it is the SCP founders coming to the reality that their universe is being written by horror writers. You know, the kind of breaking of the fourth wall, that the people who are actually writing the SCP stories are the gods, and that's the founding of it, which is the truth behind it. Honestly, it's literally the actual reality. I kind of like that. God was real and he hated us. I hate the novel, but I love that line. So, but very interesting that there isn't necessarily really like one SCP. There's not really necessarily an origin. The idea, it kind of goes along the lines of the whole it being part of a community thing as well, so you can kind of pick and choose what is your personal canon to how things started and what SCP-001 actually is. I mean, technically it could be God or a god, or it could just be something simple, whatever you think, a prototype human, or you know, whatever. So I find that very interesting, very interesting. I'm eager to learn more about this. As I was saying before, I still want to learn. I want to learn more about what is the name of that god? Yaldabaoth. I want to learn more about Yaldabaoth and the Sarkics and their side of the whole conflict, you know, with early man and all that kind of stuff. So I'm eager to learn more about that. But that's gonna do it for this here video, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying me diving into the SCP you know, series so far, and learning more about this. If you guys out there have any recommendations for any other content creators or videos in the SCP universe that you would like me to take a look at and react to, you know, feel free to leave that information down below in the comments. I am doing this live for my YouTube members, as my YouTube members wanted me to get into checking out this SCP stuff. So if you would like to come and join in on any of these live reactions that I'm doing, feel free to click the join button down below in the info section, and you know, see if any of the YouTube membership tiers have any benefit for you. Regardless of that, I appreciate you guys coming in and just hanging out and watching the video with me. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and a sub, as it helps me and the channel grow. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Love you guys, love all the support, really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next video.